Is real estate a good investment? Great question, and by the end of this video, I want to show you the bow wow of real estate investing. Hey friends, I'm Paul Haley, Toronto realtor, investor, educator, and speaker, and I want to change the way you think about real estate. So there are 4 ways you make money with real estate investment. The first way is through cash flow. So that's all your rents minus your expenses, what you're making every month. The second way is mortgage pay down, having your tenant pay down your mortgage each and every month. The third way is through development. So developing your property, that's renos you do when you purchase the property. You add a little bit of value. And the fourth way is through market appreciation. The best part about those 4 ways of making money in real estate is the first 3 are a lock. I can tell you when you buy the property what your cash flows are going to be, your mortgage pay down, and the appreciation for any renos that you're going to do. The market appreciation is an unknown, and it's really just kind of a bonus. If you're buying and holding or fixing and flipping, really the only things you put in your spreadsheets, your calculations, are the first 3 things. And probably more interestingly, market appreciation only really affects the speed at which you build wealth. You're still going to build wealth, you're still going to hit your plan, but it only affects the speed at which you're going to do that. So how does real estate stack up against other types of investment? So let's look at investing in real estate versus the stock market. If you had $200,000 10 years ago that you invested in the stock market or in real estate, how much money would you have now? Great question. If you had invested that $200,000 10 years ago in the TSX, today you'd have about $370,000, current market crash aside. And if you had invested that $200,000 in real estate, today you would have $1.4 million. $1.4 million. And the reason for that, the reason you get so much more return, even if stock market returns were lower, say, than real estate, is that real estate is a leveraged investment. So that $200,000, you're actually getting appreciation on a full $1 million of the purchase price of the property. And that 7 and a bit percent that I used was the GTA average for the last 10 years. If you look at C1 or Toronto Core, it's more like a 10% growth rate. Okay, so let's look at the bow wow of investing in real estate. Let's look at a really simple model. Let's say you took that same $200,000 and you bought a $1 million property that returned $1,000 a month cash flow. And every 5 years, let's assume you did your mortgage for 5 years. At the end of 5 years, you refinance that property, you take equity out, and you buy 1 more property for every property you own. So at the end of 5 years, now you have 2 properties. At the end of 10 years, you have 4 properties. At the end of 15 years, you have 8 properties. And so on and so forth. So at the end of 30 years, how much do you think that $200,000 has turned into? After 30 years, that $200,000 would be worth $36.5 million. That blows my mind. I hope it blows yours, but that is incredible. Now let's have a quick look at the graph. I find this very interesting because originally I was strictly a cash flow investor. So I just looked at cash flow returns and paying down the mortgage. But if you look at this graph, you realize that the significant amount of that wealth is built through market appreciation. Now, like I said, that is an unknown, and it really only affects the speed at which you build wealth. You certainly, even if it was, say, lower than 5.5%, you would have built significant wealth. So this is why I believe that real estate is the only proven, accessible way to build secure, significant wealth. And if we're not acting, if we're not investing, even in this interesting time, crazy time, let's call it, I find that actually more terrifying than not actively investing and building wealth. So if you found that helpful, please download my investor's guide, link below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and please like this video and subscribe so I'll know to build more of this type of content. And if you want to get in touch, you can email me at paul@paulhaley.ca, and we can talk about my favorite subject, real estate.